are here with some survivors for DBD for the tier list. So obviously the only thing to go off based on survivors is their perks, their unique perks. That's really the only thing that can separate any of them, because killers are a little bit different because they have abilities and whatnot, but obviously none of these people do. So I'm going to start off first by just putting these last four in the B tier because I have not played them, so I don't want to, move anybody around too much at all. But let's truly get started. Let's start off greatly with the best survivor in Dead by Daylight, which has to be Claudette. She arguably has the best perk as a survivor in the game, which is self-care. Being able to heal yourself without a med kit is the best thing you can do in that game, in my opinion. If not one of the best for sure. Her other perks, as far as botany knowledge, is like, first thing if you're dropping a perk, that's the first one you're dropping of those. But empathy actually isn't too bad, being able to see other injured survivors within however many meters of per pip you have, so that's nice. Definitely lets you get more healing help for the team as well, so that's a great addition. I think Dwight has to go A tier, honestly. I think his overall kit is, or not kit, but perks, is really solid, but he is very, very, very much a team support survivor. All of his perks are based off of helping himself or other survivors do things faster when you're around each other. And that's basically all it comes down to. But I think he can make a very big difference in a game, as far as, like I said, getting stuff done faster, which is what you want to do as survivors. You want to get all those gens done as quickly as possible. You want to, anything that you're doing as far as totems and, whatever, speed kills with survivors for sure. So I think him being able to essentially help the entire team or whoever's around him is very massive. Let's go back to Cheryl. I think Cheryl's a C from what I remember. I don't remember her perks super good, but I know a lot of it has to do with like the obsession and whatnot. I feel like there's one that's like really good with her, but I can't think of it. I might be wrong, but from what I remember, it's basically she has obsession perks and nothing that's too insane that I would want to use. A lot of these survivors have some sort of benefit in some type of way, and I don't feel like she's one of them. I think being the obsession is more of a downfall than it is a pro for survivor, but that's just my opinion, obviously. Let's do, since we're talking about obsession, we'll do Lori. Now, Lori is difficult because she's also the first obsession survivor, but the original decisive strike was probably the best perk in the game at the time, one of them for sure. Everybody was running it and every killer was afraid of it. Though they did nerf it and change it, I think it's still strong, so I have to put her in B. Now, if she still had original D strike, it would probably be at least A tier for her, for sure, if not S. But the fact that they changed her best perk, and it still is good, but D-Strike originally was so powerful, so strong. If you had that, you were good to go. And every killer knew that. Honestly, when I was playing killer, I would just let people do it so then they wouldn't have it. Because some people will wait, even though that they could use it, they'll just wait and not use it, and then use it later, and then piss you off. So, yeah, it was definitely a a very strong perk at the time. Still is okay, but a lot less used overall. Felix, honestly, I have to give Felix A tier. I think his whole perk set is very good. Being able to essentially get more charges on um, an item is very good, whether it's a toolbox or a med kit. I mean, obviously on other things too, but those two are big. And then I know another one is like healing or being able to see stuff. I honestly forget these last couple, I'm not gonna lie, but I remember literally all three of his perks are overall pretty solid as like a group together for one survivor. Um, I do apologize that I'm forgetting some of these people's, a lot of their perks, but mostly it's just the ones that most people use, otherwise, you know, you just don't use them at all. Ash, same thing. I think all of his perks are just at the best beneficial to him and nobody else, and not even really him. I don't remember them being useful at all. David, I have to put David in B. Now I could put David in A because I do think Dead Hard is a very solid and useful perk. And I do think it's one of the top used, but the problem is that is his only one. No Mither is literally a wasted perk and the best way to get you killed. And the other one, I believe it's No One Left Standing or No One Left Behind or something where it's you're taking protection hits and it's not worth it. I mean, yes, obviously it's worth to take a protection hit, but it's not worth a perk spot. But Dead Hard is up there. If it was, you know, he probably deserves like B plus A minus, but that's literally being carried by Dead Hard. The rest of them are not worth it. I'm literally drawing a blank on her name. Yui. I think I have to give B2. I don't think her perks are super useful. I think they're a little bit different as far as people being carried and stuff, but I just don't see the huge benefit of using her. Honestly, I don't think her perks are too amazing. I do remember that her perks are okay, you know, for like someone's 3 original perks, but overall not so much. Now Meg is interesting because she does have good perks, but a lot of them are hit or miss or cause more problems. I think I have to put her in A, or I'm sorry, B. I think Sprint Burst can be very useful. The problem is it then causes exhaustion and you can't do anything else. I do think Quick and Quiet again can be very useful, but if the killer is smart or pays enough attention or anything, then you get pulled out of a locker, obviously. I am forgetting her third. I'm pretty sure Bounce Landing is Nia. So I forget Meg's third, actually. But I don't remember it being super insane anyway. So since we're talking about Nia, I think I'll put Nia in A. And that is literally mostly because of it's actually all because of Urban Evasion. Bounce Landing is a pretty shit perk in my opinion. And Streetwise is okay just to kind of help with charges and speed and whatnot, so that can be a little bit useful, but Urban Evasion again is probably one of the top perks in the game. The fact that you can crouch walk damn near almost as fast as someone sprinting. I mean, if you have it tier 3 or pip 3, whatever you'd like to call it, then you're almost as fast as a killer just walking around with that shit and he can't find you. So anybody can use that. I think it's probably, again, easily a top 3 to 5 perk in the game for survivors for sure. Tap, I think I have to put Detective Tap at A2. I think the constant being able to see other people's, or not other people's, everyone's, I don't want to say objectives, but as soon as somebody gets a gen done, you literally get an area C of where's the next generator that's near you, totems that are near you, chests that are near you. And then, if for whatever reason a killer, obviously at some point will be near you, you're gaining tokens, so then when you do something such as start doing a generator, you can get these tokens to get great skill checks. And then the other one, the other one is being able to heal yourself up as you're crawling on the ground if the killer never picked you up. So that's honestly useful to being able to do 2 at once. Obviously, it's not always useful because that's most of the time not gonna happen, but when and if it does, it's solid. And again, I think being able to constantly see where you can possibly go next and small objectives that you can do around you is huge. Oh, Nancy. Oh, I honestly just don't remember half of these last people. I feel like she had one good perk, but I can't think of what it is. I'm blanking on half these people's names, to be honest. Obviously, that's Nancy and Steve. She starts with a Z, but I forget, so again, my apologies. I pretty much, after this amount of time, I had pretty much left the game for the most part. I would come back when a new chapter is out, but overall gone. Jane. I think Jane has man. I think I'm gonna have to put her in A, and the biggest reason is the perk that allows you to not have scratch marks after, I believe it's anyone's completed a gen, but I know minimum it's if you complete a gen for like 5 to 8 seconds or something, you don't leave scratch marks. That's a great way to, like, you know, complete one and get out of there without the killer ever knowing which direction you went. Obviously, if you're smart enough, you won't instantly sprint out of getting a gen done most of the time. But that allows you to do so and get to the next one or go do whatever you need to do. I believe she's the one that also has the locker stun, so that in certain builds or, you know, just to fuck around, that can be fun, but not necessarily the most useful. And I do forget her third one. I can't even think of the image. Adam. Oh. I think Adam is a B. And honestly, the only reason he is a B is the possibility that you get Deliverance. I think Deliverance can literally have the possibility of having you survive the game because it allows you to get off the hook. The problem with it is you have to unhook someone and have them not go down within so many seconds or whatever of you unhooking them to then get Deliverance. But even if you get Deliverance after you have been hooked before, it does not work. So you have to get Deliverance before you're ever hooked, and then make sure that they don't, you know, get basically face camped and go down and you not get it. But if you can do that, then it can literally be the difference of you surviving or not, or at least give you a very good chance of getting out or having your teammates get out because of it. Because obviously being able to know that you can get off the hook is awesome. The pebble throw is, I mean, whatever, really. And I don't even remember his third. I think it's like, I'm pretty sure it's something that if people keep getting injured, then it gets better or worse or something. Like I think he starts off either really good or really bad, and then it changes. So I don't really remember. Jeff, I don't even remember one of Jeff's perks, to be honest. I don't remember them being good. I could be very wrong, but, you know, we never know. Thank you for the follow. Let's see. Quentin, I think Quentin is good for just overall help. I think he is relatively worse Dwight as far as team help and getting out of the game, but he can be useful as far as being able to escape faster or even help your team depending on what killer you're facing or build. Just kind of re-heal themselves and everything like that. I think he's okay. I think if you want to be more of a support survivor and you don't want to run Dwight, then Quentin is a solid choice for second. Bill, I think Bill is only in B mostly because of borrowed time and because he can't, you know what, I think I might have to put him in A. I think borrowed time is one of the top perks that isn't a top tier. So if I would put borrowed time in one of these tiers, it would be an A and not S, because it can really save some lives, or at least keep people alive a little bit longer. And then I think No One Left Behind, or whatever it's called, where he can pick Unbreakable, actually I think is this one, where he can fully pick himself up if he's laying on the ground. Again, it's kind of iffy, because I would say most of the time that's not going to happen, but the times that it does can literally be the difference of you surviving or not, or at least giving you a much bigger chance of doing so. So I think I have to pop him in A. I forget his third. I think it's I don't even remember. I know that they finally added Bill like to console, so that's what I was playing on originally. So I know I think all three of his perks were just like natural game perks originally. Kate Denson. I'll give Kate a B for sure. I think her perks are okay, just being able to see where you can vault and pallets and stuff. I think that can be useful. I think she's probably one of the most useful DLC survivors for new players. I think she's probably one of the best. Just being able to do that, as well as when you get picked up, being able to wiggle off and really cause problems for the killer. I think that's pretty huge as well. Has it saved you? Probably not really, but you know, at least it took the killer a little bit more time to get there, so maybe helped your team a little bit more. But I think she's a solid DLC survivor for new players to pick up and feel good with. Jakey Cakey. I think Jakey Cakey's in B. And the biggest reason why I put him in B and not A is Saboteur is just kind of cheeky. It's not really super beneficial. It's the only way you're gonna really use it is just to help your teammate not get hooked, but the probability of that being successful all the time is not very high. The one where you're not really scaring birds, again, can be useful sometimes, but the probability of it being that useful or worth a perk spot, depending on your other ones, not very high. And the only reason why, again, he's not an A, because I think Iron Will is a very, very solid perk. The problem I can't put him in A is you have to get Iron Will to 3 pips before you have no moans or groans or whatever when you're injured. Obviously still a large percent of your loudness when you are injured is great and can possibly keep you alive, but the only way it's super good is if it's at 3 pips, and obviously it's not always that easy to do that. So again, I think he's B. I think he is solid. His kit is good, especially just for, honestly, he is the lone survivor straight up, and can come in with some clutch hook sabotages for sure. But I think unless you have Iron Will 3, I wouldn't use Jake specifically for his perks. Fangmin. I think I have to put Fangmin in A, honestly. I think she's just overall solid. I think being able to, the biggest one obviously is Technician, being able to repair a generator more quietly, which can be useful because obviously you just kind of get near a gen and try to hear it and see if it's going as a killer. But that part isn't so great, but the bigger part is, especially for new players, if there are still new players coming to the game this many years later, is if you miss a skill check, it has a good % chance to not explode the gen. It will still lessen your gen progress, but it will not explode and not alert the killer that you missed the skill check. So that is very, very useful. Her other one, I know it's not, what is it? I'm trying to think of the name. I can literally see the picture, but it's basically in a cone if the killer is like looking at you, or you can like sense the killer in such an area or something. Again, that can be useful, especially not for newer players and everything. And also because depending on who the killer is, as far as Michael, Ghostface, or Pig, you know, somebody that doesn't have a heartbeat, at least not all the time, that can be super useful in knowing that there's someone there, someone coming, or something like that. I'm actually surprised I'm forgetting her third one, but I don't believe her third one is too amazing from what I remember. And then Ace, good old boy Ace, boom boom boom, the only Dear to You survivor. Fucking useless. Yeah, like 1% luck, woo fucking who. What does he be able to, I don't even think he can see, is it see chests? Like, I mean, can that be good? Yeah, sure, but for the most part, everybody knows that they're either in the shack or main building, or they're not obviously that hard to find just around the map. I mean, obviously they're harder to find in the map than they are those two spots, but and then the other one, I don't even remember. I think it's like tokens for something that's not worth a shit. So yeah, Ace is trash. But overall, Claudette self-care you need. Even if you don't play as her, be sure to level her up and get that perk for sure. Some other, you know, if you're always playing with friends, Dwight is great for yourself and your whole team for sure. If you buy some DLCs, Felix is great. Tap is great. Jane is pretty good. Fangman is a great original survivor. Meg is a good original survivor. I would say Kate, if you just play Survivor by yourself, is a great DLC pickup as well. I'm sorry for half of these new people that I don't know or don't remember what they do. I do forget half these people's name as well, unfortunately. But, yeah. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments. We will be going with more DBD soon enough.